Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and this is another Mindset Monday as we continue our July series, Preparing for Transformation. Well, before we dive into this, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we know we got the amazing Dr. Will with us, all right? It's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Hey, it's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks, and make sure you tune in every Thursday night to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about everything from love, sex, relationship, cultural differences, and so much more by bridging the gap between them all. And we even talk about spiritual uplifting. You need to stop by. Me and Dr. Mike, as well as the BTG crew. We have some amazing guests that come through. You never know. Just make sure you tune in Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Go to axnaomi.com and tell them Nyomi sent you. All right. Hey, Dr. Will.
It's so good to see you. How are you?
Yes, it is. Are you ready for this conversation? I know we kicked it off last week. We're speaking on a conversation and transformation. And, I'm going through the explant next month, surgery and that. Let's just continue to be a beacon for others. You ready for this?
It's going to be good. And I think that this topic is definitely, I would say, a launching pad into what we're about to be doing. So I'm excited.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. So my listeners, let's do this. Let's guide ourselves.
Yes.
Let's ground ourselves. Let's ground ourselves before we get into the topic. All right. So you guys can just get into a comfortable position and close your eyes. All right. Take a deep breath in. Now slowly exhale, releasing any tension that you may be holding on in your body. Now feel your feet grounded on the earth. Your body present in this sacred moment. Now I want you to visualize your inner self whole and worthy, deserving of love exactly as you are right now. Not the version of you that you think you should be. Not the version that others expect you to be. But you, in this moment, complete and beautiful. And when you breathe, I want you to breathe in confidence. And I want you to exhale and breathe out doubt. And I want you to breathe in self-acceptance. And I want you to exhale judgment. You are on a path of self-discovery and transformation. And that journey is holy work. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes and bring your awareness with you into our conversation today. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back. And if you're new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, again, this is something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. So today we're diving deep into something that affects every single one of us in relationships between our body image and our sense of self-worth. And this conversation couldn't be more than timely, especially for me, because as I prepare for my explant surgery next month, I've been forced to confront some very uncomfortable truths about how, I've tied my value to my appearance in the past 20 plus years. How many of us have looked in the mirror and we let what we see determine on how we feel about ourselves that day? How many of us have made the decisions about our bodies based on what we thought would make us more worthy of love and acceptance or even respect? Well, these are questions that has been toiling with me ever since I was a teenager. But there's deeply practical ways of practical things that when you're facing any of this kind of body transformation, whether it's surgery, aging, illness, or just natural changes that our body goes through. I remember at a time when I was on the verge of turning 50. I think I was like 2 years shy of 50. I remember looking at my body as it was changing. The baby weight that I had from my children, I still had that weight. And just being in the public eye, it made me think about, man, have I ever truly embraced my body? Have I ever truly embraced who I am? Is it because of something or someone else? And that's why I think today, truly embracing our body and understanding what our self-worth is, especially going into, I know last week we talked about making that life-changing decision, but also it's about knowing what your self-worth is and embracing the body that you do have, that you won't have to make those decisions to do something to your body that is harmful for. But again, that is why I had Dr. Will come in on this series with me, to share his thought, because he specializes in everything from self-imaging, trauma healing, empowerment. Dr. Will has been walking alongside with me through this whole journey of the season of self-love. And even I've shared with him, part of my preparation for my explant, and he's been there with his own insights, and very valuable information for me as well. And I thought that he would truly be a beacon along with myself to give another perspective for you beautiful people out here with this journey for me. So again, Dr. Will, thank you for being here with me on this one.
I'm just happy that you trust me enough to be on the journey with you, because it's not easy. It's a lot of releasing, it's a lot of letting go, it's a lot of unlearning, it's a lot of growing, and most importantly, it's a lot of you.
Yeah.
And so you are in the front and center of this, and so I'm happy to be a witness to your growth too.
Thank you, my still friend. There we go.
Mm-hmm. You got it. Look to the end. All the fire.
All right, so before we begin, let's get deep into the deep work of it. I want to set the stage for our listeners. Why is it so important that we address the psychological aspects of body image, especially when someone is going through a major physical transformation?
Yes. So this is almost instinctual, right? To know a threat is to see a threat. We're taught threats by the absence, the presence, and the removal of all things, right? That's how we can first do the foundation of just body, of physical, right? And so as children, we understand our instinctual understanding of fear is the removal, the presence, and the process of just not having something. And so our lives are dependent upon that. And so that's just the first step of it all, is just understanding that our instinctual nature as human beings is we have to see it for it to be something serious for us. And so, but we're never taught to see ourselves. Right. And so the psychological affect behind all this is that when I look at myself, I'm not looking at myself. What I think I look like and how people are looking at me are two different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to understand that the way that I see my life is going to be based upon how other people's perception of me are.
Mm-hmm.
Choice to accept it, reject it, or internalize it.
Mm-hmm.
And that can come out of three different types of reactions or responses.
Right. Mm. When you said that, I remember doing this, and I'm trying to remember when, and I truly realized it was, when you walk past a car.
Mhm.
When you walk past a car, the car all waxed up, and you walk past and you see your body imaging, while you walk past. And I remember walking, like looking in a mirror at home when I look at a mirror, and I go to the store, I walk past a car, and I'm like, that is not that same damn body that I just saw in the mirror at home. And I'm like, where you come from?
Right, who this? Who this?
Like, who is this? Who that? Who is this? But the one thing is that I remember even starting off with the season of self-love is even talking with the listeners, trying to get out of the head of not trying to be what others want you to be. And it's like,
Mm,
where do we get our first self-worth is from the beginning?
yeah.
And we get that from what? We get that from our families, our loved ones, our
Mhm.
friends, our
Our teachers.
communities, our teachers, where we grew up with. Because I know for me, I can trace back to body imaging issues back in childhood, back
Yeah.
then I used to embrace being a part of the, excuse my language, the itty bitty titty committee.
Mhm.
Back then I really didn't need it because I played basketball and ran track, and that, not having them made me faster.
Mhm.
Where I
Mhm.
can jump higher, but also in my mind, I used to just love women. You know what I'm saying? I used to think women are sexy. And I thought that having breasts and being able to have breasts, that made you more of a woman, that made
Mm.
you worthy of being
Right.
that beautiful, woman. Some of my favorite, women were, Marilyn Monroe, Diane Carroll, Pam Grier,
Mhm.
with the,
Yeah.
and the women in my family, there wasn't a big booby part, but they all were shapely with curves and, and stuff
Right.
like that. And in
Hers
my
was
mind,
culture. Mhm.
that is what a woman's body looks like and imaging look like.
Mhm.
So when I was a tomboy. So when they say, oh, you just a boy, and I was all the boys' best friends. They always
Mhm.
liked the shapely girls. And I was like, am I ever going to be that? Or I'm always going to be this skinny
Mm.
girl.
Mm. And
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that because even just on a man's perspective, like I grew up in the I grew up in the husky era. So I
Okay.
wasn't I was so I was I was too short to be the big and tall. Couldn't wear the slim fit polos. I couldn't wear adult size clothes. I wasn't tall enough. So we had the husky section. So I was a husky boy, being Ohio boy, a corn fed Ohio boy. And you know, I was always like, Mom, like, why can't I have my friends, like, close with my friends? Why can't I? And so I had a weird body thing because we didn't really express our bodies as
Right.
boys. Like, we didn't, we expressed ourselves by how athletic we were. How good could I catch a football? How fast was I? How strong was I? Oh, I was a big boy, so I couldn't be a running back, so I had to be a center. But what's a 4'11", little boy at, being a center? Like that's not realistic. I wasn't skinny enough to be a running back. I wasn't
Right.
skinny enough to be so my body was what I was told what my body could do before
Mm-hmm.
I could see the actual potential of my
Essentially
body
what everybody
itself.
can do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was told what my body, and that's how I was rewarded, right? And I was celebrated because of how limited my body was. Like, oh, you smart. Oh, you play instrument real good. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just do the instrument thing. Then I'm not gonna go be a quarterback,
Right.
right? So it was people already chose what my body could do, and they rewarded me for that before I could even show what I was capable of.
Yeah. 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 Just as I sit here, I remember watching my first baby, that poor baby, she got it all. She just got all the un the shit that I had to unlearn. She just got all the toxic stuff. But I
Mhm.
remember with my second baby is being very very cautious of the words that I said, that I spoke to her and
Mm.
spoke into her. Like I spoke into great words into my oldest one, but that was more of me proving a point to my family and stuff like that. So I was kind of more, pressuring her to do, like, she was a track star. She played basketball.
Mhm.
So I want to make sure that she was successful in those things. And so, weight
Mhm.
training, like I was forming her to be this amazing, what's the name, and
Yeah.
not knowing that mentally that I was tearing her down and not allowing her to just appreciate her
Mhm.
body of who she was, because that's something that was told to me. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Um, because I was searching for external validation. And so I put that need for her to have external validation for the both of us, through what I'm telling her to do. So when we talk about embracing your body and your self-worth and your self-worth, it definitely do come from when we're younger, our family
Mm.
and that. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the difference between the external appearance and the internal self-worth, because I
Yes.
think that is where a lot of us get confused, or how do we separate these two things in our mind?
Yes. And we can keep it very simple. You learn your capability and you learn your capacity. A lot of us have unbalanced measures of capability and capacity because we are not honoring what our body is truly authentically designed for. And so a lot of us on the inside, we recognize that if we're not capable, we won't have capacity. And on the outside, if we don't look capable, then we will lack the capacity to actually be involved in that. So it's a very fine line
Hmm.
on understanding the world on my inside is not being seen on the outside. So I have to outperform myself to make sure I'm seen normally. You know that phrase I always say, I have to work twice as hard to get half of what they got. We all say that. That's not just like a us thing. Like so many cultures say that now. So now it means that there's a actual misconception. There's a distortion in this now. So now
Mm.
it's not just black folks saying that anymore.
Hmm.
What it means is that I have to remove myself from my authenticity to feel validated by other people. Yikes. So then when do you actually stop trying then? When do you actually rest? When do you understand what the value of rest is? There's literally the mindset where there are people that will literally they'll achieve such amazing things and they'll never celebrate it because they were never taught how to celebrate their accomplishments because they were forced to actually do that. So you don't even know how to celebrate yourself. You don't even know how to reward yourself, but you created the discipline to be rewarded. How can you create a discipline to be rewarded and actually not actually celebrate your reward? That's
Hmm.
that's a part of the distortion. So
Yeah.
this capability and this capacity is completely distorted right now in our world, and our bodies are typically the first sign of the disfiguration itself. That's
Yeah.
why body dysmorphia is it's so wild right now. It's not even about body dysmorphia, and that's the crazy part. We can't talk about that now, but it's not even about body dysmorphia. It's
No, but I,
not.
I totally understand, because we're trying to find that perfect image that is going to be accepted by the world. Because
Yeah.
honestly, because even though we can say, well, my parents, our parents and our parents, everything has always been to be accepted of the world and what
Hmm.
their moral compass is and what it's supposed to look like for you being a person. I will say American citizen, but let's just say a person, period, because every culture go through the same thing. So for me, because I will consider myself one of those overachievers that's always doing. Like I literally had no ceiling to my success. It's just to keep going and going. And even I remember a conversation that you and I have about productivity. And he was like, "Well, Naomi, why do you think you have to do all of that?" But that's because I remember
Hmm.
when I was doing things and my mom used to say, "Okay, why you not doing this?" I said, "Well, because I don't have enough time." She said, "Oh, you just being lazy." And in that mind,
Mm.
you feel that in your mind about, okay, if I'm not doing this much or I'm not accomplishing this much, is that being lazy? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Especially
Exactly.
coming from a competitive type of field that I was in, doing all of that, is that okay? I'm not doing enough, or am I being lazy? So then I won't listen to my body. Then I can't
Yeah.
embrace my body. So I'm trying to put on more or do more, to be of excellence. Yeah.
And I call that secondary trauma I call is overdrive. So they have people that have burnout, but a lot of us are experiencing overdrive, where we go beyond our limit, where we actually intentionally keep removing the goalpost or the finish line so that we feel like we have something to obtain
Yeah.
rather than to actually appreciate the finish line that we've created for ourselves. And in my healing process, I'm trying to remove the finish line. I'm trying to erase the finish line so you can just enjoy the path that you've created. Right. And so we keep pushing this goalpost back for ourselves. And they keep saying, oh, society's doing that. Oh, society can do that, but you don't have to comply.
Mm-hmm.
So what's making you feel like you cannot choose yourself? Why don't you choose your body? Why is your body not choosing you? We think about physiological symptoms. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know why? And can I be honest? Because
Please.
you have not seen that yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have not seen that yet. And it's very difficult for someone to do something or to be the first. And it's so crazy when I'm saying this, because the way that we're living our lives right now is we are looking for that freedom to live totally with who we are, in that authenticity of who we are. And even in that, and I know you get stickers and stuff like that, like, you weird, you this. It's always a certain negative kind of thing that comes on to us. Like last week, I remember seeing a comment on there, and someone said how, wow, that's amazing that a sex worker can find purpose. Try that in Africa. I was like, huh?
Like there's so many ways you can take that. You know what I mean? Like then like an offer, like what do you like you, it's like a challenge. Like what do you like how do you know that there aren't some being successful right now? Like how do you think so many, like, just the history of just like the hypocrisy of it all, right? Like that's wild. Yeah.
But when you think about being kind of maybe the first or the pioneers in the pioneer stage of doing something so differently, like it does take resilience and things, because people I don't know if I want to go over there because that might not be it. So people don't even have the courage to stand over there in that to see what it, to see what it is, or are they on drugs, or are they this, or because they don't believe in this. I'm saying? It's so many different things on why people don't do that.
People are like, let's just be clear here.
Yeah.
People are so afraid. And like, even think about like when you have like those pictures, like, oh, I wish I lost weight, and then you look back 5 years later, like, oh, I was skinny back then. you keep doing that every 3 to 5 years. So when are you going to accept that you actually are doing it right now? You just pick the word. You just pick bad clothes.
Yeah.
Right. You just probably had it was probably just your style. That's what it was. You didn't like I'm telling you, the amount of phases of haircuts I had and color hair, I'll probably be regretting this hair in about 10 years. But that's just what it is. And so I had to accept that. So there's this radical surrendering of the moment, of being present in the now, and embracing the fact like your body has a purpose right now. And the thing is that we have allowed other people to write the acceptance in our lives.
Yes.
We have to reset the narrative.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Kid you not, just yesterday, I was sitting on my couch. Matter of fact, because I was packing to go away. And I was looking at my clothes. I said, I'm not wearing that because I'm uncomfortable with it. I'm not wearing that. I looked at my baby. I said, look, I'm just going to be thick. I'm just going to be a curvy, thick woman. I'm not getting ready to starve myself. No, I'm going to do the exercises to keep it tight. But I'm not getting, because I look good in this. I look good. I'm going to wear this. I'm not wearing that no more. Because it was a moment, because I remember a moment in my life that I prayed for these hips. Then I prayed for this butt. I was like, am I ever going to get my mother them butt? I got it now.
Right. You winning now.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you embrace all of that because your arms are, big right now. Before you could take your arm and your hand and put it around my arm. That's how small I was at 30
Mm-hmm.
years old.
Mm-hmm.
So now you
Yeah.
you prayed for it and you got it. Embrace it.
And
Embrace
and
it.
and I'm telling you that when I work with clients that have body dysmorphia, it's always a part that they don't like or a thing they don't like, and it's like, and and they want you to they just want you to like accept the disfiguration. They want you to just make them know that they're not crazy, or they're like there's something like they want me to just jump on with it.
Mhm.
And I tell them, I'm like, well, tell me the origin of how it became that way, because before you didn't like it, it was loved as a baby, it was
Mhm.
loved as a child, it was loved as a teenager, but then something happened. What happened?
Mm.
Right? Like you didn't think it was ugly when you were 3 years old.
Right.
At 5 years old, you didn't think it was ugly.
Mhm.
What happened? And when they a lot of them can't go back to that story because it's them feeling like they're losing their power. They remember when they lost their power, but they don't remember when they loved themselves. And that's
Mm.
a really sad place to be sometimes.
Mm. Mm.
When was the last time you were loved for your body?
Mm.
What did that look like? Who was it? Where was it? Or was it just you? When was the last time you loved your body?
Mm-hmm. Is that a question for me or just general?
I mean, in general, but I'm curious to see what your answer is, though.
Even when I see, and I'm just going to be very honest. Let me see. Probably, and honestly, after I had my first child. After I had my first child, because my boobs had, I still had a little bitty waist, I had a little booty, I was a little, but I still had curves, but I was small. And that's probably when I loved my body the most, was then, really, it is all its natural form. And then, of course, 10 years later, I had another baby, and that you kind of morphed my body into something different. And that's when I introduced myself to the implants. And then after that, my stomach, I have never had any problem with stomach burning. I had my nice boobs, so I had a nice shape. But when I think about in my natural form, it was after I had my baby at 19, 20 years old is when I felt more comfortable, because that is where I felt that I was a woman, that I became a woman then. Yeah.
Yeah. But think of how mental that was.
Yeah.
And your story was about you and your childbirth and your story of motherhood.
Mm-hmm.
There was this acceptance, this completion, this creation of life. And that is such a, from what, accepting your body, but knowing what your body went through.
Mm-hmm.
That embracing of your body is a different story. That's not a typical story, right?
Mm-hmm. But but I want to be honest. I was just looking at the outside, the external. I wasn't looking at the internal. So even when you just said right now what your body went through, I didn't even think about that. I think about it now because I
Right.
understand the powerful, magical of that whole thing that happened, that I was able to do. And that's why I was at last week, a week before last, when we talked about it, when he was like, with that non-completion, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I feel is that completion now. I know that is the completion, because I know what all of my body has been through. And I'm about to take it a little step further, and it's about to blow some people's mind, even me being in the adult industry. How many people did I allow to enter into my body? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I know all of those things, of the entering and the releasing of all of that. So now that I'm removing, these are the last of the toxics that I'm removing from my
Right.
body.
You've been detoxing this whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So now removing that all I just got to do the final detox of it, whatever debris is left from here. And then I am complete, to where now I am all natural. And so now I am able to truly get the full healing of the complete of everything that is needed for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And I hope that your listeners are really understanding that the acceptance and the embracing of your body comes from the willingness to be seen, the
Mm,
willingness to be seen. And I think that is something that is separating you from a lot of people, is that you are willing to be seen. And you've had a career of being seen on extreme levels
yeah.
that other people have not. Some people don't even know how to say their name in front of people.
Mhm.
So my thing is like the fact that you're able to be like, I'm here, I'm present. What do you want to get to that point? If you're not mentally willing to be seen, I don't know how you can ever be physically seen,
Yeah.
right? Because you can't hide your body. You can't hide your body. If you exist, your body is going to be seen,
Hmm.
right? So it's kind of like, what do we do when we can't hide our body anymore?
I don't know.
Right.
I'm just really just sitting here thinking, like, you know, I don't know. Especially in today's time, everything is visual.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is visual.
Visual. We are reading visually now. We are not reading context anymore.
Yeah. Everything is visual. Wow. Yeah. But that's one of the things that during in the beginning, when I said this is what I'm going to do, and I remember having those thoughts on what I was going to look like. And I remember in the mirror, and I said, that's okay, because you still fine as hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, you still fine as hell inside and out. So what those two look like, it ain't gonna make a difference. They weren't perfect anyway. One was bigger than the other, so it don't make a difference. So these are things like, do you understand how you're going to feel when it's over? Let's
Mm-hmm.
leave let's leave that vanity, that ego, that aside. How you gonna feel spiritually? How your body, you're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
back at 100%,
Right.
all natural. Remember how you felt when you were 19, 20 years old? When I was 19, 20, I was playing basketball while I was still pregnant with my baby. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it was things that I was doing at youth that I'm unable to do now that I do back then.
Yeah.
But not only
Yeah.
that, but the wisdom and the understanding of what my body entails and what I
Yeah.
can do.
You're getting years back.
Yeah,
You're giving your body years back.
yeah,
And so embracing your body is also giving your body a break, right? And that's even with food, right? Like I have friends that are martial artists that will do like a water break, where they'll only drink water for a couple days, just because they want their digestive system to stop working so hard.
yeah,
Just like they realize that they're putting their organs through so much that they're seeing it on the outside of their body. Their stomachs are swelling,
yeah,
right? Because their bodies are working too hard.
yeah,
So embracing your body is also giving your body a break to be
yeah,
seen, to be
yeah,
felt.
yeah. You know what? That I believe that totally. When I think about the swelling of my body, it's just crazy how my body swells. And even I do every first 9 days of each month, I do a detox, you know,
Mm.
to try to get all of that swelling out. I still have swelling, you
Mm.
know, because what I have in my body is not aligned for even the food that I eat, even if it's healthy food. Like, I eat healthy food at times. And most of the time I'm eating healthy food.
Mhm.
And it's just not going anywhere. We can say, okay, it might be menopause and stuff like that. But give or take, I would just love it if it's just with that.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
just go through the motions of it. But as long as I still have that question mark, that I know that it's two foreign objects in my body that I put in because at that moment I wasn't embracing my body. Now I'm embracing my body without them. Now I
Mm.
visualize what my body looks like without them. And I'm okay. I already started purchasing me some bras for
Mhm.
everything, for
Wow.
what that would look like for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the first step into just and embracing this outside body is thinking about, like, I think clothes do matter, right? People like it's superficial, and I'm like, no, no, no. Like, society wise, like, we have to wear clothes. That's what our society tells us. And your colors matter, right? Colors matter, right? And for me, I dress based upon the way I feel about my purpose that day. And so I wore this intentionally to live in purpose. Sometimes it doesn't match. Sometimes I don't match, but I work on that. You know, when you see me, I'll make sure I match around you. But I just I'm gonna work on that. But I've learned that there is a way to dress with purpose. And so, embracing your body is putting your body on clothing that makes you feel comfortable, it makes you feel seen,
Yeah.
right? And if it does feel tight, and like, but why does it need? What intention are you doing to make it tight? What do you want people to know about you when you make your clothes tight, right? Because the truth is that you will be seen, whether you want to or not. And I think especially for men,
Mm-hmm.
we have it's a weird thing for men, because like, we don't have to care at all. And if we care too much, it becomes homophobic, right? Where it's like, oh, he's he's not straight. It's like, because I cared about the way I looked, right? But then if I don't care enough, then it's like,
I'm a
I'm
boom.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, so when do you, what is the balance? And
Yeah.
so, it's like how do you want your body to be received by others?
Yeah.
Right? That's a real question that to ask people
Mm.
that.
You know that's so. And I hear you I hear you when you say that, because even though because I can say I don't care what people think. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that. That's that.
I look like it.
Yeah, you know.
Mhm.
But then you have a little part that say, okay, I do, because maybe they just looked at me crazy. I remember at a point in time where I used to wear fitted tight clothes. My mama used to call me skank. She used to think that was a term of endearment. She's like, girl, you get on that little skank. You ever say little skank? I'm like, do you understand what the words that coming out your
Right.
mouth, lady?
Right.
Like, oh, I ain't mean it that way, but do you? I'm just saying that the
Right.
outfit was tight, and it wasn't for me to get attention. For me, it showed my curve. That's what me.
Mhm.
When I looked in the mirror and it turned me on, that was it. It was good.
Mhm.
I wasn't thinking about nobody else, like literally.
Yeah.
But this is the crazy thing. Once I got into the adult industry, the way that I dress switched when I was outside of the industry.
Interesting.
Yeah, I used to wear heels every day. For 30 years, I wore heels every day.
Wow.
Every day. Every day. When I got into the adult industry, I only wore heels when I was performing or I was at a
Those
convention.
conferences, yeah, conventions.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Otherwise, you will catch me in before you would not catch me in flip flops, gym shoes. Either I was running or playing basketball. You would not
Wow.
catch me at any of those things. Now I am the flip flop queen. I will find an
Wow.
outfit with some cute little flip flops with it, dress it up with some jewelry, and be gone. Because I
Wow.
want to be comfortable, but I still want to be sexy. But I also now understand the responsibility of the eyes that see me. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
You know, because before when I was younger, it was like I wish it would, whatever. Because I held that whole, I was skinny, but I was tall, and I had um, this automatic bitch look face like that. I ain't fucking with her. Like either she crazy or something. So it was like, oh,
Right.
no, okay, we just say
Mm.
she fine or she cute, but it was like,
Right.
yeah. Now, I smile and somebody will come over and
Now you look like an invite.
right. And it's sometimes I do wear the glasses and the hat on because I don't want to be seen. Sometimes I just
Mhm.
don't want and a lot of times people don't want to be seen. Sometimes people just want to be in their moment. I'm very
Mhm.
sensitive. It's time I don't want to be seen at all. I will be having on some jogging pants, as holy as hell. Make sure, like, won't nobody try to holler at me. Nothing.
Right.
Even with my wedding ring, they still trying to holler. So I got to take
Mhm.
that off and just like put
It's
on a.
crazy. The moment I put a wedding ring on, I got more attention than I ever did in my life. And I was like, I, I was pretty before. I swear I was. Like I wasn't. Like I know the glow up is real when you get a real
Right.
one. But damn, I was like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. But now I embrace everything. I embrace the cellulite. I embrace my body. I actually love the way that my body can transform.
Mm,
I love how my body can transform in different ways. I like
mm,
that now. Before I didn't. And I'm kind of happy for that because actually that time did prepare me for this surgery, knowing that my body is going to be different, and so
mm,
all of that, it actually did prepare me for that. So even if, for my listeners out there, think about all of those times that you were on those yo-yo diets, you know what I mean,
mm-hmm.
and or for a physical form. Now when I eat differently, it's more for a health issue. I know it's certain things that I eat that triggers certain things for me, that trigger my migraines, that trigger my vertigo, so those things I need to stay away, or my high blood pressure, those I stay away from, or a limit in my meal. But now I'm embracing these birthing thighs. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
I'm embracing those. My cellulite, I embrace that. I know I got my mom legs, so I might not be as, I'm gonna still work out and do all that because I want to see if I can just transform my body along.
right.
But for me, doing it for the world, nah. But if
Mm-hmm.
my journey could help someone, yeah, I would. That's why I share. That's it. But no, I like I said when I was sitting on that couch, I said I like I'm gonna continue to be thick. And if somebody said, "Oh, Naomi, you gained weight," I sure did. I
Mm-hmm.
sure did that. What that mean? I mean I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you that embracing mindset, you learn that the journey is about what can my body do for me.
Yes.
Right. For me, the working out, like the why I work out the way I do is because I know that I'm exhausted in life. I'm tired. And when I work out, when I get tired from working out, that's actually my tiredness leaving my body and me
Yeah.
restoring energy back in. I realize that the tiredness I experience is actually me putting energy back into my body, not taking out of me.
Yeah.
So I have to keep putting energy, which is why I have to work out more. And
Yeah.
like that's a part of that process. So,
Yeah.
it's learning the reason in a more internal way rather than external validated way.
Yeah. And then and like you said, even thinking about the certain exercises that you do give your body. We're not even just talking about physical, we're talking about mental too. Because
Yes.
that is when I tell you
Psychosomatic is real.
mental is draining, oh my God, that will shut your body down than a
Hmm.
100-yard dash.
Hmm.
This right here, this brain, whoa,
Mm.
yeah.
We talk about psychosomatic symptoms often, and it's like the way that your body can make you sick before you become sick. Mm.
Mm, mm-hmm.
You have to be in love with your mind, because if your mind can do what it wants, you don't have that control. If you don't have a relationship with your body is only chasing what the mind is telling it. And then the body reacts on its own too. And your body, so it's like, so for me, it's like, is your brain catching up with you, or is your body catching up with you? Which one is it? Which one are you? Are you a brain leader, or are you a body leader? And I'm telling you, that body leader, you gotta be careful about that, because that's impulse,
Mm-hmm.
and that's reaction, and that's instinct. So it's living off of fear. So when your
Mm-hmm.
nervous system is going haywire, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole. I have a friend that she teaches all about nervous system repair, and the fact that your rest is not able to rest because your nervous system doesn't know what rest means, because you
Mm,
don't allow your body to live in rest.
mm.
So your nervous system, you be sitting there taking a nap, and your nervous system's thinking you still jogging.
Wow. Hmm.
That's why your nap is not efficient.
Mm.
You have
Wow.
not trained your nervous system to rest. It's psychosomatic work.
Mm. Wow. I might need to talk to her.
I
Like
got you.
really.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got you. She's dope. She's dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Next week we're going to talk about fear and anxiety.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That'd be the one.
Yeah. Because I shared with you before that I had really bad anxiety. It's gotten so much better now.
Hmm.
So much. Oh my God, so much better. Now it's a whole 360-degree turn. And I even remember when I was talking to my baby and he said, you gonna be all right. And I said, yes, I'm gonna be all right. I said, I know exactly what it is that I have to do and why I have to do it. And that's the thing
Hmm.
is I know, like you said, like I know my why. I know
Hmm.
my why. Um, and I know the fullness of it all. And so it won't take me there.
Yeah.
I can't I won't go back there. We talk about the paradigm all the time. That's one thing that I know that I didn't like how that felt. I now know how to be out of that. I understand what
Mm.
I can control and what I cannot control. And usually it's about fear of the unknown. I'm
Yeah.
okay with the unknown now. I'm
Yeah.
okay. I am looking forward to knowing what that unknown is, just watching it happen, enjoying it. Before I
Hmm.
couldn't enjoy it because, oh, I got to see what that is. Now I really want to
Hmm.
see what that look like, how it's going to
Yeah.
go. Yeah. That's the
I,
difference.
I've been, and I think that I'm kind of there too. Like I'm more excited about the blossoming. I used to be so ingrained in what the work looks like
Yeah.
that I'm more just curious about the blossoming aspect. I'm like, yeah, how's it gonna blossom? I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like, what's it gonna look like? Because I don't think we have to. I think when you get away from the process of the work and you just believe in what you do, the
Yeah.
results are always gonna be in your favor.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. So, real quick, let's talk about patience. Let's talk about patience and
Mm.
self compassion, that piece, because I think it's where a lot of us struggle when it comes to with embracing our body. We want to feel confident and we want to be accepting immediately, but that's not realistic,
Mhm.
but it's not always realistic.
Yeah.
So, for you, w- how can what would be your advice to them to be a little patient, to have a little self-compassion on their journey of
Yeah.
embracing their self, their body, and their self-worth?
Yeah. This is basically my relational model. You have patience, tolerance, and endurance. Endurance is how long should I do this for? Give yourself a deadline,
Hmm.
right? Tolerance, how much of this should I be handling? You should know when it's beyond your capacity, right? Sometimes removing yourself or releasing yourself from something is how you grow, not actually holding on to it.
Hmm.
And then also patience is, once again, like you said, knowing your why. Why am I being patient for this?
Yeah.
Why is this important to be impatient to be patient for? Why is this important?
Hmm.
Because if you don't know why it's important, then there's no point of you being present in that.
Right.
So then you're just holding space.
Yeah.
You're not holding a purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Position is not purpose. Purpose is not position. So you have to know: am I here because of my purpose, or am I here because this is a position that needed to be held?
Yeah. I like that. All right. So this is my last question. What about reframing society standards? Because
Oh.
we are bombarded with messages about what bodies should look like, what's attractive
Mhm.
and what's valuable. How do we protect ourselves from those messages?
Ooh. Okay. That's a hard question. So I'll keep it very, I'll keep it very linear. Um, you have to accept that you're not going to protect yourself from societal view. You can't. There's no way to you can. There's no way to be off the grid. Even people that are off the grid
I
are
know.
still using the grid,
Hmm.
right? So you have to accept that you have to have filters. And if you don't have filters, then you will be susceptible to things that are saturated. So, for instance, a simple example is, you're like, oh, I don't watch negativity. I'm not watching the news.
Hmm.
Okay, that's fine. But now you're missing out on what's happening in the world. And that's very important to know what's happening in the world, in the news, locally, especially. If you're not willing to go on TV, then what are you reading? What's a newspaper? You can read that at your own pace, right? You have to, or you filter it by going to a community, being a part of a community, and saying what's the objectives happening around in the world today. Talking to other people in your community. So for me, it's more about understanding that you can't block yourself from what's happening in society, but you can reframe it by giving a filter and understanding what is the avenues in which I want to receive information. How do I want to receive the way that I'm being seen? How do I want to control that? Right. So that would be my way to, because that's a hard question, because in the world today, we're so infiltrated with so much information.
Yeah. Yeah. But thank you for sharing that. So just before we leave from here, is there any homework? I know you don't like homework to say
Yeah, we do
homework.
side we do side, but you can do homework. We can give homework for your people. We can do that. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that.
What are some top recommendations for someone who wants to begin their healing relationship with their body in their self-worth?
I'll give a easy, medium, and hard.
Okay.
The first thing I want you to do is draw a picture of what your body looks like now. Then draw a picture on paper.
Okay.
On paper. Yep. Crayon, pencil, all that. Then draw a picture of what you want your body to look like. And then in the middle between those two pictures, write out all the things that you have to do to make that realistic. That's number one. That's the easy way to do it. Second way, which is a medium, is go in the mirror, and I'll say this appropriately, and get some lotion. And I want you to go in the mirror, and I want you to rub your whole body in lotion. And just talk to yourself. Talk to it crazy. Just be like, "You so fine. Look at you, just rubbing, just looking at your body. Just going in. Just look at the way your body just moves when you hit your shoulders, right? And just talk yourself up while you're rubbing your body with lotion on. And it's gonna sound silly. It's supposed to make you laugh a little bit. It's supposed to just do it, because you have to have humility when it comes to your body. Your body is trying to make something work. Our bodies were not meant to be in buildings and skyscrapers. So our bodies have been adjusting to all this weird stuff already. So get back to that. And then the hardest thing, level 3, is to find someone you're safe with, someone that you trust, and tell them to love your body. And send it from it. And depending on how close you are, you both be naked. You both sit in front of each other, and you just say, and you just really just let them be like, "Love me," and then just sprawl out, and just see how they're tender with you.
Yeah.
See how they talk to you. See how they speak into you, because it's you allowing yourself to be loved for what that is.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, especially men, we've never been sat down and told how our bodies are loved.
Yeah.
Men are not taught that. We're not shown that.
Yeah.
So it's a very hard thing to do, but if you find someone you can trust to experience that with, it's a great start.
Beautiful. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, my beautiful people. It's something new that we are starting this month. Just for this month's series, is we're going to close out with a beautiful meditation. So if you all can just close your eyes and get into a comfortable position. If you feel it. Now I want you to place both hands on your heart. Feel it beating, keeping you alive, sustaining your life force. Now say thank you to your body for all that it has done for you, for breathing, for moving, for healing, for carrying you through each day. Now I want you to look beyond the physical. Acknowledge your spirit, your kindness, your strength, your unique gifts. These are things that make you worthy of love and respect. Take a deep breath make this commitment to yourself. I will practice seeing myself with loving eyes. I will speak to myself with kindness. And I will remember that my worth is inherited and unchanging. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right, my beautiful people, thank you for just sharing that moment with us. Again, this is just something that we're doing this special for this month's series. We started off doing this in the beginning. I'm laughing. You know why I'm laughing? Because I remember when I first did the meditation, and I remember it was just me and the mic. And I was just, because I didn't know how the world was going to accept me talking about self-love like that. So I remember holding my hands up, doing all the physical type of meditation. Like I was in it, like doing it in the beginning. If you go way back and listen.
Oh, I gotta see that.
It was just crazy. And then I think about the growth of everything right now. And it's truly, even with going through this explant journey, it truly is a growth, a transformation. That's truly what this is. And even, when I spoke about embracing who you are, mind, body, soul, your self-worth, all of those things. Even when we look back in the day and somebody said, you got no titties or look like a boy or whatever like that, or, you husky and such and such and such and such, and, that is who we were. That is a part of us. We shouldn't be ashamed of that. That is a part of us. And when I look back at that in my life, I'm like, woo, girl, what an amazing life that you've had. Even with all the rest of the stuff. It is truly amazing. It is. And I won't allow nobody to tell me that it ain't. And that's how you have to be, y'all. That's how y'all have to be. Seriously.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Will, you got any last words?
Yeah. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, my beautiful people. Again, this is a month-long series. It's a series on transformation to explant to transformation. They're going to be going bye-bye. But I will see y'all tomorrow for Transform Tuesday. Again, thank you again for just joining us here every week, every day. We have truly built this, we, not just myself and Dr. Will, but you, the listeners, have truly, done some amazing things for us here, to where we are being seen all over the world. We are being ranked all over the world. And that truly tells on how we are truly living in our purpose, really. And you all just listening every day is a part of your purpose, if that makes sense. All right, my beautiful people, again, thank you again for tuning in. Have an amazing, amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today, and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.